Okay, we'll come to our mats today on our backs. And soles of the feet on the mat. Bring the arms up. So like you're reaching the fingertips up toward the sky. Bring the right arm in front of the left arm. So you're crossing high up on the arms. Turn the palms to face down toward the ground. Slide the fingertips underneath you. And make sure the elbows are going down toward the navel, so not up toward the face. Now you can close the eyes. So we're starting with the shoulder opening. Let's heel toe the feet to the outer edges of the mat and bring the knees to touch in the center of the mat. We'll stay like this. So take a deeper breath in through the nose. Exhale back out through the mouth. Inhale in through the nose. Exhale back out through the mouth. Inhale in through the nose. Slowly exhale out through the mouth. This time in through the nose. Hold it at the very top. Slow exhale back out through the nose. Inhale in through the nose. Release the air back out through the nose. Keep going. Reach the arms back up toward the sky, left arm in front of the right arm. Turn the palms to face down. Slide those fingers underneath you, elbows away from the face. Same breath. Reach the arms back up to the sky. Bring the arms down by the sides. Heel toe the feet back to hip width distance. Cross the right leg high up over the left leg. So inner thighs cross up high. Then bring the knees in toward the chest, lifting both legs. See if you can grab onto that bottom knee. Hips stay down to the mat. And if it bothers the knee to hang on to it, you can also grab onto the back of the left thigh. Sometimes that works better. Set the feet back down onto the mat. Cross the legs the other way. So left thigh high up over the right thigh. Bring the knees in toward the chest. Hang onto that bottom knee or the back of the right thigh. Try to keep the hips square if you're rocking over to one side. Feet come back down to the mat. Leave the feet on the mat, interlace the fingers back behind the head. Keep the elbows wide, look up, take an inhale. Exhale, lift the upper body up and away from the mat. Inhale back. Exhale up. Inhale back. Exhale up. Inhale back. Exhale up. One more like this. Inhale back. Exhale up. Stay up. Lift the feet. Get the knees in line with the hips. Inhale back. Exhale up. Inhale back. Exhale up. Inhale back. Exhale up. One more. Inhale back. Exhale up. Stay up. Twist the upper body over to the right. Leave the legs the way they are. Come back to center. Maybe the shoulder blades stay lifted. twist to the left. Back to center, twist to the right. So it's just the upper body. Back to center, exhale, twist to the left. Inhale back, exhale, twist. Inhale back, exhale, twist. Inhale back, one more each side. Exhale, twist. Inhale back, exhale, twist. Come back to center, lift the chest up higher, come back halfway. Exhale up, inhale back halfway. Exhale up, inhale back. Exhale up, inhale back. Last one, exhale up, inhale back. Bring the knees in toward the chest, rest the head, rock side to side. Set the feet down to the mat. Roll over to your right side. Use the hands to bring yourself up. Let's come to tabletop, all fours. Once you get there, let's turn the wrists. So you can turn the hands out so the fingertips point toward the sides of the mat. If there's enough mobility in the wrists and the forearms, you could turn the hands all the way around, stacking the shoulders over the heels of the hands. On an inhale, reach the heart forward, lift the tail, coming into cow pose. On the exhale, round the spine, cat. And then just go back and forth with your own breath. One more cycle, inhale and exhale. Back to center, turn the hands back around, fingertips point forward, bring the forearms down to the mat, walk the elbows forward ahead of the shoulders, hug the belly in, keep those thighs vertical. The hips will want to go forward, rest the forehead down on the mat. So puppy dog pose. If this doesn't work in your body, Sphinx is a good alternative. So you still get that upper body opening. Spine's long because you're hugging the belly in and the lowest front ribs in. Lengthening the sides of the neck. If you want to take it deeper, you could bring the hands together if you're in puppy dog and bring the hands back behind the head. If that's going okay, you can crawl the elbows forward a little bit more. Bring the hands back down, lift the head back up, walk the elbows back in. So we're all have the forearms down on the mat, hands down on the mat. Shoulders are right over the elbows and the hands are right in line with the elbows and the shoulders. Step the feet back, come into forearm plank. So we just did a lot of core work, and planks we know is a lot of core, but it's the full body too. So see if you can get the hips in line. Reach the chest forward, gaze is down and forward a little bit. So maybe you're looking above the mat. Kind of just depends on the placement of the body. And then legs are lifting. So you're lifting the muscles in the legs up toward the navel, navel up toward the sternum. You're pressing down into the hands and the forearms, and you're trying to stay with that ujjayi breath. So in and out through the nose, up and down the back of the throat. Set the hips down onto the mat, tops of the feet to the mat, Sphinx pose. So chest is pushing forward, tails pointing back toward the heels, legs are active. So you press into the tops of the feet to lift the knees away from the mat. Outer hips hug in toward the midline. Look back down at the mat, tuck the toes, lift the hips back to forearm plank, one hand at a time, plank pose. downward facing dog. Lift the hips up and back. So you have several breaths here. Maybe you want to pedal out the feet. Maybe you want a wider stance with the feet if the legs are tight. That's a good way to bring space. Just give yourself time to explore these bigger poses. Then look forward at the hands, glide forward to plank pose on your inhale. On the exhale, back to downward facing dog. We'll do that 2 more times. You're welcome to stay in down dog if you want to skip it. Inhale forward, plank pose, get long. Exhale back, downward facing dog. Inhale, glide forward to plank. Exhale back, downward facing dog. Little different this time. Inhale, glide forward to plank, maybe lower down halfway, chaturanga, back up to plank, downward facing dog. So maybe we'll play with that again. You're welcome to stay in down dog if you'd like. Inhale, forward plank pose, lower down on the exhale, chaturanga, back up to plank pose, downward facing dog. Inhale, glide forward to plank pose, lower down halfway, chaturanga, all the way down onto your stomach, tops of the feet down. Hands back by the lower ribs, come up for cobra. So this could be a bigger one. We've done several back bends already. Tailbone still pointing back toward the heels. See if you can hover the hands away from the mat and still keep the chest lifted. So we don't use the hands too much in our cobra. Hands come back down. Child's pose. Come up to hands and knees, big toes together, forehead comes down to the mat. Arms out in front of you, but it sort of depends on where the hips are. So some of us need to keep the hips up high because our knees can't need more space, and that's fine. And then when that happens, then you have to adjust the upper body too. Remember, you can take child's pose whenever you want it. Look forward at the hands, down dog, tuck the toes, lift the hips up and back. Start to put a bend in the knees, look forward to the top of the mat, walk the feet up to the hands. Forward fold, very top. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. 2 more times with that. Inhale up halfway, navel to sternum. Exhale, fold. Last one. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. This time, circle the arms all the way up to standing. Hands come together overhead, down in front of the heart. Let's just do a couple rounds of half Surya A. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Arms circle all the way up to standing. Hands come together overhead, down in front of the heart. Again, inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Arms circle on the inhale all the way back up to standing. Hands come together, down in front of the heart. Changing it up this time. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fingertips to the mat. Step that left foot way back, coming into a runner's lunge. You can stay up on the fingertips. That's a nice way to keep some height in the chest. And then you can sink the hips a little bit to start to get into that hip opening. Blocks are great too underneath the hands, especially if you're struggling to stay in the lunge. Set the back knee down, reach the arms up overhead. Bend the left elbow, grab onto that left elbow, get the shoulder in place. You get a nice little stretch in that left shoulder. Lift the upper body up and maybe lean the upper body over to the right. So now you're getting a nice side body opening on the left side. hips still opening. You're lifting that left hip bone up, lengthening the quad down. Come back through to center. Both arms reach up. Hands come back down to the mat. Take half splits. Shift the hips back. Lift the toes on the front foot. Push the heel forward. Reach the chest forward. So keep that spine long. No rounding in the upper back. And hands going lower is a little bit more intense. So you can figure out where you're getting a good opening on the back side of the right leg. Come back to your lunge, slide that right foot back down to the mat, tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, big step forward, left foot up next to the right foot. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold, right foot steps back, runner's lunge, stack the left knee over the left ankle, chest lifts, breath strong. Back knee, set it down onto the mat, reach the arms all the way up. Chest is lifted, spine's long. This time, bend the right elbow, grab onto the right elbow. You're reaching down the center of the back, getting that shoulder in place. Lift the chest up, lean over to the left with the upper body. Gaze is straight forward so the chest stays lifted, pointing forward. Come back through to center, both arms reach up, hands come down to the mat, half splits, Ardha Hanuman, shift the hips back until you straighten the front leg, toes lift, push the heel forward, chest reaches forward. Hands can be underneath the shoulders, they can be ahead of the shoulders, low, high. Find a place where you get a nice opening on the back side of the left leg. Right thigh is as vertical as you can get it. Slide forward onto the sole of the left foot, hands to the mat, tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, step the right foot up, inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold, bend the knees, hands to the mat, step back to plank pose, lower down halfway, chaturanga, up dog or cobra, tops of the feet to the mat, either way, legs are strong, core strong. Exhale back, downward facing dog. Bend the knees, look to the top of the mat, bring the feet up to the hands. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Arms circle all the way up to standing. Hands come together overhead, down in front of the heart. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold, bend the knees, hands to the mat, step back to plank pose, lower down halfway, chaturanga. Inhale up for your back bend. Exhale back, downward facing dog. Knees bend, look to the top, get the feet up to the hands. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Arms circle up on the inhale, hands come together overhead, down in front of the heart. One more Surya A. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold, bend the knees, hands to the mat, step back to plank pose, shift forward onto the toes, bend the elbows halfway, chaturanga, cobra or up dog. Exhale back, down dog. Right leg lifts up and back, three-legged down dog. Step the right foot all the way up between the hands. Find a runner's lunge, feet hip width distance apart. Then reach the arms back behind you. Hover low over the front thigh without touching it. See if you can get some weight in that back leg so everything's not just going into the right leg. Hands squeeze together. Come up for crescent pose. Arms reach up. Bend that left elbow, grab onto the left elbow, find the shoulder opening, maybe leaning the upper body over to the right, lengthening the left side body, also challenging your balance. Come back to center with the upper body, both arms reach up. Straighten the front leg, still reaching up with the upper body. Turn the toes to the left, so you're facing the side of the mat. Angle in the right toes, turn the left toes all the way out. Warrior two facing the back of the mat. Use that right hip, the back hip, to push the left hip forward. And maybe you'll be able to lift the chest a little bit more when you do that. Dig down into that front heel, outer edge of the back foot. Reach the arms up overhead, straighten the front leg, turn those left toes in, keep angling them in, turn the right toes out, reverse warrior, bend that front knee, left arm goes back, reach up and back with that right arm. Windmill the hands down to the mat. Make your way back to downward facing dog. You can go straight back. You could take a vinyasa. You even have time for a child's pose. It's 5 breaths for you to play with. Left leg reaches up and back, 3-legged down dog. Step the left foot all the way through, up between the hands. Feet hip width is important for balance. Reach the arms alongside the body. Palms face one another. Chest is reaching forward. Keep some weight in the back leg. And both sit bones are pointing straight back, so you want to make sure the hips are square. Reach the arms all the way up, crescent pose. Bend the right elbow, grab onto the right elbow, keep the chest lifted, but maybe lean over to the left with the upper body. Back through to center, both arms reach up, crescent pose. Straighten the front leg, keep the chest lifted. Turn the toes over to the right, angle in the left toes, turn the right toes all the way out. Warrior two facing the back of the mat. Left hip pushes the right hip forward, heads right over the hips. So you get really long in the torso, hands in line with the shoulders. It's easy to get that front hand in line with the shoulder. It's the back hand that we lose sight of. Deep lunge in the front leg. That left quad is pressing back to straighten the leg. Reach the arms up overhead, straighten the front leg, turn the right toes in, keep angling them in, turn the left toes out, reverse warrior, right arm goes back, left arm reaches up and back. Hands come down to the mat, any way you want, back to downward facing dog. Bend the knees, look to the top of the mat, bring the feet up to the hands. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Chair pose. Bend the knees, reach the arms up. All the way up to standing, hands come together, down in front of the heart. Inhale, sit back, chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhaling up halfway. Exhale, fold, bend the knees, hands to the mat, step back to plank pose, downward facing dog with or without a vinyasa. Right leg lifts up and back, three-legged down dog. Bring the knee to the nose. Stack the shoulders over the wrist. Step that right foot all the way through, up between the hands. Reach the arms back behind you. Palms face one another. Chest low. Weight still on the back leg too. Rise up, crescent pose. Bend the left elbow. Grab onto the left elbow. Keep the chest lifted. Lean over to the right. Back through to center with the chest, arms reach up, straighten the front leg, keep the chest lifted, toes turn to the left, angle on the right toes, turn the left toes all the way out, warrior two. Reach the arms up to the sky in your warrior two, straighten the front leg, turn the left toes to face the side of the mat, keep angling the left toes, turn the right toes out, keep the arms up, just bend that right knee straight forward. Take the left index finger and right thumb, grab the right wrist, pull it up and back for reverse warrior. So you'll feel really long in both sides of the body. Chest is going back. You're just helping that right arm go up and back with the left hand. Release it. Hands come down to the mat. Make your way back. Downward facing dog. Left leg reaches up and back. Step the left foot. Oh, bring the left knee to the nose. Step the left foot all the way through. Feet hip width. Arms back behind you. Chest rises, but we keep it hovering over the thigh without touching. Reach the arms all the way up. Crescent pose. Bend the right elbow. Grab onto the right elbow. Keep the chest lifted. Maybe lean the upper body over to the left. Back to center, arms reach up, crescent pose. Straighten the front leg, lifting the chest. Turn the toes over to the right. Angle in the left toes. Turn the right toes all the way out. Warrior two. You want to feel like you're hugging the arms in toward the torso so the shoulders don't have to work so hard to keep the arms lifted. Stay in warrior two with the lower body. Reach the arms up to the sky. Straighten the front leg. Turn the right toes in. Keep angling them in. Turn the left toes out. Bend that left knee straight forward. Grab onto the left wrist. Pull that left hand up and back. And then feel how different this is, this arm variation, how much length you get in both sides of the torso. This is what we want in our reverse warriors. Release the arms back down to the mat. Make your way back, downward facing dog. Few breaths in your downward facing dog. Bend the knees, look forward to the top of the mat. Bring the feet up to the hands. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Come back to Utkatasana chair pose. Sit deep, weight in the heels. Chest lifts. All the way up to standing, hands come together, down in front of the heart. Inhale, sit back, chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, hands to the mat, make your way back, downward facing dog. Here's where you pace yourself so you figure out if a vinyasa is a good idea or time to skip. Right leg lifts up and back. Knee to nose, stack the shoulders over the wrists. Step that right foot all the way through, feet hip width. Reach the arms back behind you, chest low. Rise up, crescent pose. Bend the left elbow, grab onto the left elbow, chest lifts, lean over to the right. Back through to center, arms reach up, straighten the front leg, turn the toes to the left, angle in the right toes, turn the left toes all the way out, Virabhadrasana 2, facing the back of the mat. Pushing that right thigh back. Arms reach up toward the sky, straighten the front leg, turn those left toes in, keep angling them in, turn the right toes out, grab onto that right wrist, reach up and back with the right arm, reverse warrior. See if you can keep the length on both sides of the torso. Gently release that left arm so it just lightly touches the back leg. So it's more up than back with that right arm. A little different this time. Right hand inside the right foot or forearm to thigh, left arm up to the sky, side angle pose. So not extended side angle, left arm's going straight up to the sky. Turn that left palm to face behind you. Wrap the left arm behind the back, coming into a half bind. Chest is still opening up toward the sky, and you're trying not to let that right hip swing out to the right. Left arm comes back up to the sky, side angle pose. Look down at the right foot, hands to the mat. Make your way back, downward facing dog. Left leg reaches up and back. Knee to nose, scoop the belly, round the spine, step that left foot all the way through. Reach the arms back behind you for that runner's lunge, squeezing the hands together. All the way up, crescent pose. Bend the right elbow, grab onto the right elbow, lift the chest up, over to the left maybe. Back through to center, both arms reach up, crescent pose, straighten the front leg, hug those outer hips in, turn the toes to the right, angle in the left toes, turn the right toes all the way out, warrior 2 facing the back of the mat. Arms reach up to the sky, straighten the front leg, turn those right toes in, keep angling them in, left toes out, grab onto that left wrist, reverse warrior, pull that left arm up and back, get as long as you can in the right side body, still keeping that curve. Play with releasing the right hand, slowly, really light it, just rest down on that leg, no weight at all. Left hand comes forward, maybe down inside the foot on a block. Right arm reaches up to the sky. Turn that right palm to face behind you. Right arm behind the back, half bind. Don't be worried on where that right hand lands. It's all about that right shoulder opening. Right arm reaches back up to the sky. Look down to the mat, hands to the mat. Make your way back, down dog. Few breaths in downward facing dog. So lots of shoulder opening today. Also getting into the side body. Bend the knees, look up to the top of the mat, bring the feet up to the hands. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Bend the knees, sit back, chair pose. All the way up to standing, hands come together, down in front of the heart. Inhale, sit back, chair pose. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, hands to the mat, bend the knees any way you want, downward facing dog. Right leg lifts up and back. Step the right foot all the way through, up between the hands, feet hip width, reach the arms alongside the body, squeeze the hands together, rise up, crescent pose. Bend the left elbow, grab onto the left elbow, lift the chest up, lean over to the right. Back through to center, both arms reach up, straighten the front leg, turn the toes to the left, angle in the right toes, turn the left toes out, arms at warrior two. Reach the arms up to the sky, straighten the front leg, turn the left toes in, right toes out, grab onto that right wrist, pull it up and back, reverse warrior, lots of length, both sides of the body. Gently release the left arm, try to keep the length in the left side body, deeper lunge in the front knee. Side angle pose. Maybe hand inside the foot. You can stick with forearm to thigh or hand on a block. Left arm reaches up. Turn that left hand to face behind you. Wrap the left arm behind the back. If you want the full bind and it seems like an obvious option, you can reach underneath the right thigh. Maybe the hands connect. Just keep the lunge in the front knee and keep opening up the chest toward the sky. Most important thing is not taking away space from the spine. So if you feel like that's happening, then we've gone too far. If you have the full bind, right hand comes down, left arm reaches up, look down at the mat, hands to the mat, step back, down dog, be happy here, or take a vinyasa. Left leg reaches up and back. Step the left foot all the way through, up between the hands, arms back behind you, chest low. Get the weight as even as possible on the legs. Reach the arms up, crescent pose. Bend the right arm, grab for the right elbow, lift the chest over to the left. Back to center, both arms reach up, straighten the front leg, toes to the right, angle in the left toes, turn the right toes all the way out, warrior two legs, then layer on the arms. Straighten the front leg, reach the arms up to the sky, turn the right toes in, left toes out, grab onto that left wrist, pull it up and back, reverse warrior with this arm variation. Keep the length in the right side body, slowly release the right hand, just rest it on the right leg. Come forward, side angle pose, Parsvakonasana. Right arm reaches up to start. Turn the right hand to face behind you, wrap the right arm behind the back. Option for the full bind, skip it if it's not there. Left hand down, right arm up, look at the mat, hands to the mat, downward facing dog. Stay here or a vinyasa. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Exhale out of the mouth. Bend the knees, look to the top of the mat, get the feet up between the hands. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Take chair pose. Come all the way up to standing, hands come together, down in front of the heart. Keep the hands here. So you're pressing into the hands to open up across the chest. Legs are rooting down toward the earth. Crown of the head is rising up. Start to shift the weight over to the right foot. Hover the left foot away from the mat. So you're hugging that femur into the hip socket. It's just like an inch maybe away from the mat. Warrior 3, start to bend the standing leg. That big toe, it's almost like you're trying to point it in toward the center of the mat. Take your time getting into it. Keep the pressure in the hands as you reach that left leg up and back. And then see if you can get the head, the hip, and that left heel all in one line. Core hugging in, outer hips hugging in. Can you step back to that lunge? So bend the standing leg, reach back with that ball of the left foot, arms reach back behind you. Squeeze the hands together. Rise up, crescent pose. Bend the left elbow, grab onto the left elbow, lift the chest up, over to the right. Back to center, arms up, crescent pose. Straighten the front leg, turn the toes to the left. Angle in the right toes, turn the left toes out, warrior 2, back of the mat. Weight even in the legs, even here. Arms reach up to the sky, straighten the front leg, turn the left toes in, right toes out, grab onto that right wrist, pull it up and back for your reverse warrior. Deep lunge in the front knee. Release that left arm slowly. Try to keep the space in the left side body. Right hand comes down inside the foot, left arm up. Maybe the half bind, turn the left hand back behind you, wrap the left arm behind the back. Maybe the full bind. So we'll just play here. You can look down at that right foot. Maybe if you're in the full bind, maybe you keep it and you step the left foot up next to the right foot. Just play with it, see what happens. And then once you get it, if you do, release it. We're all in a forward fold. Don't worry, we're not doing bird of paradise today. But that's a fun transition sometimes to play with if you have the space. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold, chair pose. All the way up to standing, hands come together, down in front of the heart. All right, so the fun thing here is you know what's coming on the other side. So press into the hands, widen across the chest, shift the weight over to the left leg, hover the right foot away from the mat. So it takes some strength to lift that right foot up. You want to keep that strength in the leg as you come into Virabhadrasana 3. Bend the standing leg, reach back with that right foot, chest is reaching forward, push away with the right leg. Make sure the toes aren't turning out to the right, but they're pointing down. You can even err on the other way so that you're pointing toward the left with the right big toe. Bend the standing leg, reach back, ball the right foot, arms reach alongside the body, chest is open, rise up, crescent pose. Bend the right arm, grab onto the right elbow, lift up, maybe over to the left. Back to center, arms reach up, crescent, straighten the front leg. Chest stays lifted as you turn the toes to the right, angle in the left toes, turn the right toes all the way out. Warrior 2, back of the mat. Reach the arms up to the sky, straighten the front leg, turn the right toes in, left toes out, grab onto that left wrist, reverse warrior. Right hand goes back, reverse warrior, keep the space in the right side body. Left hand down inside the foot, right arm up, turn the right hand to face behind you, wrap the right arm behind the back. Maybe the full bind. Look down at the mat. Maybe the right foot steps up next to the left foot, keeping the full bind. Doesn't have to, but you're coming into a forward fold some way. And then once you get it, release the full bind. You're in your forward fold. So let's heel toe the feet wider to the outer edges of the mat, clasp opposite elbows. If you like to sway side to side, you can do that, or you can just hang, but listen to the lower back. Make sure it's okay. Switch the clasp of the elbows. Hands to the mat. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, fold. Hands to the mat, step back, plank pose. Last vinyasa if you want it. Back to downward facing dog. Bring the knees down to the mat. Take child's pose. Big toes together, hips back, forehead down. Maybe arms back. That was a lot of upper body. See if you can start to settle the body down, especially the heart rate. Bring the hands underneath you, lift the head up, bring the feet to one side, come to seated on the mat. So scoot yourself forward a little bit so hips are in the center of the mat. Bring the head down onto the mat so you're lying down. And then walk the feet in so they're close to the hips. Press into the feet, lift the hips up. Your shoulders are pretty open today. Maybe interlacing the fingers is a good idea for bridge pose. Lift and spread the chest. Tail goes up between the knees. Keep that lower back long always in your back bends. Slowly start to release, hips come back down to the mat. So just rest, try not to counter pose. We'll do 2 more cycles of bridge pose. If you have a deeper back bend that is just calling to you, you're welcome to take that. Otherwise, we'll stick with bridge pose. Press into the heels, lift the hips up, interlace the fingers. Grabbing the outer edges of the mat is great too. It helps you still lift and spread the chest in the same way. Back sides of the legs are working to help lift and spread the front side of the body. Gazes up. Slowly start to release, set the hips back down to the mat. Take a couple of breaths here. Rest as much as you can in this short amount of time. Third and final round, press into the heels, lift the hips up, final bridge pose. Maybe there's a little bit more there to explore. This will be your best one. Slowly start to release, hips come back down to the mat. Heel toe the feet to the outer edges of the mat, let the knees touch. Let's do that same shoulder opening we did before. So arms reach up toward the sky, right arm in front of the left arm, palms face down, slide the hands underneath you, elbows down away from the face, pointing down toward the legs. Arms reach up to the sky, switch the crossing of the arms, left arm in front of right, palms down, slide the hands underneath you, keep the elbows away from the face. Arms reach up to the sky. Open up the arms wide. Heel toe the feet back to hip width distance. Press into the feet. Scoot the hips over to the right. Knees to the left. Right arm's already right where it needs to be. You could lower it if it's bothering the shoulder. Left hand can rest on the body somewhere, wherever is comfortable. Gaze can go to the right if your neck's okay with it, but it doesn't have to. You decide how far up the spine you want to take the twist. Bring the gaze back up. Left arm comes out to the side, both arms wide. Bring the feet back to center. Find center on your back. Then press into the feet. Scoot the hips to the left, knees to the right. Maybe right hand on the body somewhere. Maybe the head turns to the left. You choose. Finding a reclined spinal twist that's working on this side. Working well. Bring the gaze back to center. Right arm reaches out to the right. Bring the left arm all the way over so it lands on top of the right arm. So you're lying on your right side. Press into the left hand. Bring yourself up to seated, facing forward, and it's a cross-legged seat. Setting up for Sukhasana as our hip opening. So crossing the shins as closely as you can to mid shin, toes pointing forward, shifting side to side. Keep the feet going more forward. So they're not going back toward the hips. They're trying to be in line with the knees. Reach the arms all the way up. Fold forward over the legs. Sukhasana. Let the head and the neck go. Blocks could be great underneath the hands. You could even be sitting on a block. Or you could put a block underneath the forehead if you want to. Start to walk the hands back in, coming back up to seated. Bring the hands back behind you. Separate the feet. Move the knees side to side. So feet are wide, at least the outer edges of the mat. So that way you have room to bring the knees side to side and maybe reach them closer to the ground. Then you'll come back to seated, this time switching the crossing of the legs. So one side's usually more comfortable than the other. Just want the other shin in front, shift side to side until you feel even on the sit bones. Toes pointing forward, so you keep that foot flexed to protect the knees. Reach the arms all the way up, fold forward over the legs. Come back in on this side. Start to walk the hands in. Bring yourself back up to seated. Bring the hands back behind you. Separate the feet wide, knees side to side. You'll come back to seated, this time with the legs out in front of you. You might need to lift the hips up and then set them back down again to get that nice alignment in the spine. Reach the arms all the way up. Take an inhale. Exhale, fold down over the legs. This time the legs are straight. Rest the hands on something. So it might be the shins, mat. Maybe you can easily grab the feet. You can let the head and the neck go. Paschimottanasana. Slowly start to make your way back up to seated. Once the head's over the hip, reach the arms forward, palms facing up, hug the core in, and start to round the spine. So you're reaching forward and you're rounding the spine deeply, starting to work your way toward lying down. Keep it slow. You're using the core to make this happen. Core tugging in tight. And then you'll start to set the spine down slowly. And eventually the shoulders will touch down onto the mat, back of the head, backs of the arms and the hands. You can widen the feet a little bit, turn the toes out, coming into Shavasana, closing the eyes. Take a deeper breath in through the nose. Exhale out of the mouth. Let go of your breath control. Just let the body breathe on its own in and out through the nose. Coming right into stillness, a well-deserved rest. Or to wiggle the fingers and the toes. Stretch the arms overhead, reaching out through the legs. Step the feet in, bending the knees. Roll over to the right side, cradle the head and the arm. You can always go the other way if that's better. Bring the hands down in front of you to bring yourself up to a comfortable seat. Sitting up tall, eyes still closed. We want to stay inside. Hang on to this inner peace that we've created. Bring the hands together in front of you, slight bow of the head, honor and acknowledge your heart and spirit, as well as everyone around you. Bring the head back up, blink open the eyes. Namaste. Thanks so much for joining. Hope you had a good practice. I'll see you next time.